Hello, everybody. This is Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com coming to you with the 12/31 stock market wrap up. If I sound a little funny, I just want to apologize. I am going through a cold right now. Well, hopefully, I can shake this off pretty soon. Anyway, let's take a look. As I said yesterday, the S&P 500, New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average were all able to get above the 50-day moving average, and it looked pretty convincingly on some of the indexes like the S&P 600, which is a very odd ticker symbol here. As you can see, it took it very with much force. Let's just say that. I guess that's good enough. But as you can see today, it was just as good for the S&P 600 as it was up another 3%, thus not reversing its move over the 50-day moving average, which can only be called one thing: bullish for now. The New York Stock Exchange, as you can see, it has the same thing now. You know what? Let me go ahead and widen these charts out so I can pick it up a little bit clearer. So you can see the NYSE well over the 50-day moving average. The NASDAQ is now well over the 50-day moving average. And so is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. But of course, the leader right now is the S&P 600 for just now. As you can see, short term, it's gained 6.84%, leading the rest of the indexes. The good news about this rally is it's been a nice rally, and it's caused us to go from 3 longs before December to 10 longs now, and the 2 new longs I gave you yesterday, while the NASDAQ, which is the proxy I like to use, was up 1.7%, my 2 longs that I gave you was up 4.6% and 3.5%. 3.5%, 4.6% is a very nice follow through to the breakout, and on both of those charts, they look like they can hold. And besides that, I have 8 other longs and I'm long. 6 of those 8 had a beautiful day today. The other 2 that pulled back and had very bullish intraday days. So I have to say that overall, I'm very happy with the current uptrend in my 10 longs. I'm not completely happy about this current uptrend. The first thing that should be obvious to everybody is, since the November lows, what are we missing? We're missing volume. So we're having a rally on no volume. Volume well below average on the NASDAQ. Not only is it below average on the NASDAQ, but it's below average on the New York Stock Exchange since November's initial 3 days. And on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the exact same thing can be witnessed. Low volume almost every day since the November lows, besides the quadruple witching Friday that we had in December. That's the only day where big volume comes about. And those days are really kind of irrelevant days. We have to count them in the scheme of things, so technically it's a distribution day, but you got to remember that a distribution day you need to lose at least 0.2%, and this one barely cuts it. And on the NASDAQ, it was an up day actually, so it's not really, it's more of a nothing. Like I said, it's doing nothing. And that can be seen from November to now. And as you can see, from 11/11 to 12/31, about a month and a half, the market has moved nowhere, as the NASDAQ is down 2.24%. So basically, we're moving nowhere laterally. Short term, though, off the November lows, we have an uptrend. We have a 19% gain. But coming from the August highs, we still have a 35% loss. And that's what counts, folks, is the long-term returns, not your one-day gains. Yeah, 4.6% and 3.5% is nice, but if they don't give me 20% within 2 to 3 weeks, I know that I'm going to have to probably take profits at 10, 15%. So it's not that great. And for the year, the NASDAQ is down 40%, and that means that it was a horrible year for the market. However, it's still not as bad as what it was from the start of November, whenever it began its fall. That was the top 10/31/07. And even though since that point to the end of this year, it's down 44%, to the lows, which is where most people freaked out and sold, it was down 53%. And during that time, the S&P 600 fell 55%, including the Russell 2000. So that's what really counts is in the long run. How are you going to do? One day gain of 4.6%, 3.5% is very nice, but unless those stocks turn to 20% gains in 2 to 3 weeks, like I told you, what's the big deal if they're not going to hold? Luckily, I've got some longs that are looking really good, but something that should be a concern to everyone is, here's the good news. I entered the month, I believe, with 37 shorts. I only have 33 now. Here's the bad news. The 4 shorts that are gone came in November. So that means that all of my shorts from March, April, May, June, July, August, September are all in the black. They're all still showing me big gains. And only one, ATHR, which I'll go ahead and bring up, gave me a full sell signal by making a strong volume green bop getting higher. So green bop increase, strong volume on the move, strong close above the 50-day moving average. So price, volume, and bop all surged. It was already green for a prolonged period of time, so I fully covered it. The very next day, the short was back on. And it continues to be in a downtrend and is a short. So that was a September short. And from the time that I went short to the time that the full cover came, which was in the morning, so we'll ignore that day basically, I still was able to get a 41% in 1, 2, 3 months. A little under 3 months. So even though it's been a poor market all year long, and we do have one short that I took in September that has been a full cover but is now back into a short, don't be confused. The short-term rally is just that, a short-term rally. All of my 33 shorts, 27 of those were taken before October. They are all in the black, every single one. And none have given me a full get out signal because they are all rallying just like the index on low volume, which means that they all are holds. And I'll use one of my best ones, for example, SDA. We're short from September, yet we've made only covers into the downtrend. Cover here in October, cover in November, cover on the uptrend, and a cover today as it closed over the 50-day moving average. However, notice the volume on the rally. Notice the volume on the sell-off. Weekly makes it more clear. Big, tall red bars, no tall green bars, not good. So that's why I'm holding on to my shorts. For some of you that don't know why I'm short, yet I'm still long stocks, and my best one, ANCI. That's because I went long in June, right here, for price reference. Since it gapped up, we can't start there. So here's closer to where I bought. And as you can see, from June to November, 83%. And then from then on to now, no full sell signal by closing below the 200-day moving average or closing below the low of June if whenever it did get below the 200-day moving average here. Like I said, close, not intraday. If you would have been shaken out in October, you would have gotten out with probably like right around a 10% gain, and now we're sitting on a 52% gain. So I hope that you understand perspective on long-term, short-term longs. So ANCI has been a good one, and so has Q-Core. And as you see, Q-Core is hitting a new high. And from September, that is a 43% gain. And our SDA short, by the way, from our short, is still, let's believe it was right here. Still a 70% gain. 70% gain on my shorts, 40% gain on my longs. Equaled out to what should have been a great year? No, because I've basically been an 80 to 90% cash since May, which means that my top account returns 25%. My worst account that I was given in November, very start of November. So while the market, like this stock's down 83%, while the NASDAQ was down at one point 55%, my worst point was, and still is, a 13% loss because I only go long in this account. This account is not a shortable account. So for the year, all my accounts combined, I did have a bullish return. It was my worst year ever, even worse than my first year when I got lucky buying breakouts in 1996 before I really learned the William J. O'Neill IBD canceling method. This year, however, combined accounts have a return of around 15% before taxes. That's horrible! But there's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is pray that 2009 is better than 2008. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up part 1 here. I'm going to bring back a part 2 and possibly a part 3 for my subscribers since we have nothing going on tomorrow. Have a happy and safe New Year's Day, everybody. God bless you all, and let's hope for a much better 2009. Aloha.